Good day. My name is John Del Monte. I'm from Pittsburgh, really about half hour out of Pittsburgh, a name of a town called Bethel Park, where I've been living now for about 51 years. And in 1969, the late mayor of Lucca, Dr. Giovannini Martinelli, came to Pittsburgh. We had a dinner for him, and it was very nice. He approached me and said, I would like for you to start a school of art for foreigners in my town of Lucca, Italy in 1969. So in 1969, I launched the school with 5 students. And out of the 5, we are still in contact with 3 of them. They are beautiful people, and we meet several times a year to exchange ideas and so forth. Today, I'm going to be put on film by a man that I met in 1969. His name is Roberto Giovannini, a photographer, who's done several things in, these are things in, I think, South America, also in Africa. He's done documentaries, and he's a fine person, a great friend. So he's going to film me doing a wipeout, an oil wipeout. And I will talk to you about that briefly on what it's all about. You can paint on prepared paper, good paper, maybe 190 weight paper, and it'll have to be pure white and what we call hot press. Hot press meaning it's very smooth. And then you could work on Epsom board, or you can work on masonite, untempered masonite, which has no oil in it, or you can work on many things called the multistrati in Italian, and we call it plywood in the United States. Here in Italy, they have a very fine plywood, and all this material has to be isolated, even the papers and so forth, have to be isolated, and we isolate it with acrylic medium, mixed 3/4 medium, 1/4 water. So you dilute it. The water is then a conveyor that drives and brings in the liquid acrylic into the wood or into the paper, and it isolates it completely. You may have to put maybe 3 or 4 coats of the liquid on. One other reason why you put the water in it is that you don't get striations on the boards that you're going to be working on, and also because of the fact that it is a conveyor of the acrylic into the pores of the wood or the paper. Excuse me. Once that is done, you will, because it's white paper, we don't have to put any gesso on it, but on the masonite, which is a kind of a brown look, you would have to put about 3 or 4 coats of gesso and put on with a spatula, and the spatula is about 4 inches. It's plastic and it's flexible. It can be metal also, and it's put on with pressure. If you put it on canvas, you're going to have to completely eliminate the weave of the canvas so you get a smooth look, and so you get the reflection that you would need. You would get the luminosity of what oil paint is asking for. So then the board, as I said, would have to be isolated front, back, and sides. So 4 points and 4 coats of this would help to eliminate it. Then the gesso comes on, giving you the luminosity. You'd have to put maybe, a lot of the masters brought it up to about maybe some of them, almost to a 1/4 inch thick, or an 1/8 inch anyway. And we're going to be bringing it up to maybe about a 1/16 of an inch. So that gives us luminosity. We need that luminosity. When the light hits it, it'll reflect out and you'll get wonderful luminosity. We can begin to give you an effect by learning to mix the paints for this. It has to be colors that come down to black. This B would be black, somewhere around here, And those colors would be transparent colors. The transparent colors would be blacks, and they take the longest to dry. Then you would have your ultramarine blue or phthalo blue. You can have a sap green or a phthalo green. You can have a alizarin crimson. You can have a burnt umber or a raw umber. You don't add white to this at all. The white's going to be the surface that you're working on, that you prepared. That's going to be your white, because you're going to wipe out to that if you wanted white lights, okay? Those are the situations I think you'd have to be very careful about. It's a technique, and you should know the craft to prepare the paper. Very likely you could probably find surfaces of this nature that are acid-free. You can buy them. But I'm now preparing my own surfaces, and they suit me. So you would have to find a method to arrive at this particular point, you know. Now the oils, I said, are all transparent, and then I will mix a batch of paint, and we'll do something here. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to execute a head. And the head would be giving you something a little differently than what I'm going to be showing you. I have a wipeout here done in sap green and black, and I can show you that too. So we can say, I'm now going to be in the process of mixing the paints for the demonstration. When I spoke about using dark colors, I mean dark colors. I'm going to be using a alizarin crimson. I'm going to mix it with a burnt umber. I'm going to add a little black to it also, and see what happens in terms of its chroma. And I'm going to take, and it's going to be applied to this particular board here. My white is this, so I don't use white paint. I'm just using this color. And for me to get the values that I want, I start wiping out. And you wipe out with a t-shirt, cotton t-shirt. It doesn't leave any lint. And so with that, you can then begin to wipe out. And it's a flexible medium, so if you make some kind of a mistake, you know, you can brush it out. The brush I'm going to be using is this size brush. The bigger the painting, the bigger the brush, you know. And I can also begin to use a brush, to use the back end of the brush. I can begin to draw into it. So let me mix the paint now. I'm going to squeeze out the umber. I've got to cover that canvas totally, or that board. So I mix in este nero. I don't want that much black. Let's see, Italia. Okay. I'm putting in the umber, which is going to be the greatest mass. I'm mixing an accent color, and this accent color is nothing in it but the paint that came out of the tube. I'm going to mix in a little red. I will make a statement of the color as I mix. I'm going to put it on white paper. That'll give me an idea of the particular color that I'd like to have on the canvas. I may have to mix more, and it's best to mix more than you need. So I'll come back and I'll pick up a little more of the black. I'll pick up a little more of the umber, which is going to be my basic color. And I'll pick up just a bit of the red. This is going to give it a little more life, the red. So you mix it thoroughly, and into this matter of pigment, you're going to mix into it just linseed oil, nothing else but linseed oil. And it has a drying time now. Usually a pigment of what we call an earth pigment will dry within maybe about 4 hours. But adding the black, which will extend that drying time and adding the red, which also extends the drying time, I may have a little more time to work with it. I don't think we need more time because these things are done fairly rapidly, and they're done after you've done a great deal of drawing on the subject and you know it fairly well. You're not going to paint from the subject, you're going to paint from memory, and you're going to, because this is flexible, you can add a very lovely dimension to this board. I'm going to put this aside. That's accent color. The rest of this is going to be added to the board. I mix in just linseed oil, and you don't mix too much of it in linseed oil, otherwise it'll be difficult to manipulate it. It'll be too difficult, so you give it some resistance, so the less oil, the better. So I'm going to take and dip in my knife and bring out some wonderful oil, 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 5, 6 drops. I'm going to pick up a little more, and let's do it with that. I can't give you the proper measurement, but you will sense it. But you got to mix it thoroughly now, and mixing it thoroughly is very important. And then I'll take this, remember that's accent color. That doesn't have any oil in it at all. Let's see what this will do. I'd like to put down the value and change that value of white to a value, maybe a number 3 on the value scale. So it's going to be fairly dark. I'm trying to get it mixed well. I don't want the oil to be separating, at any time. And now that I think I have it thoroughly mixed, I will take and dilute my brush with a paint thinner. I take the paint thinner and I put it out. There's a reason for this. You dip your brush in paint thinner, and the paint thinner enters the furrow of the brush, so it's easy to clean out in time when you have to clean it out. Okay, now I tap most of the paint thinner out, and then I attack the paint on the palette. My brush just broke. Oh well, just now I'm mixing a bit of the paint in, and I'm going to take a test, and I'm going to put it on the board like this, and I'm going to see if I can wipe it out. Permesso, vado qui. This is my rag. This is the rag that's a t-shirt, and I'll wipe out, and you can see I can wipe out to the value of the board. If you want to take more of it out, you can take more by adding a little bit of linseed oil, like this, bump, bump, and you can see I can take it and wipe it all out. I get to the white. So it's flexible. I'm going to now apply this paint to the whole canvas of this area from the blue on up. And so I'm going to put this color on. And as you do this, these are exciting statements. And there's many a times they can be a final statement too, So, but beware of what's happening when you're applying the paint, so you'll learn by applying it and how you brush it. It's interesting. Look at that. You can draw with it too. Okay, now I'm putting it on thicker. Okay, I'm going to put it down and make sure it's all covered at the value that I was talking about, which would be the value number 3. Be close to this. Let's apply more. Okay, it's easily done, and it's flexible. If I didn't like the effect that I've gotten on the canvas, I can wipe it out completely. You can do landscapes, you can do still lifes, and you can do heads. And you can do very much like Jose Sert did at the Rockefeller Center in New York City. Jose Sert, who did the ceilings and the walls of Rockefeller Center. I'm trying to pick up more of this to get. Then eventually I'll take and give it a kind of a clean brown look to the whole paper, you know. Now I'm going to see if I can get this equal. I add more paint. Okay. Now I'm trying to make it an equal value throughout. Not that it's absolutely necessary, but it helps to give you a combination of a good value from the beginning. You're going to relate to all this. Now we got not a whiteboard anymore, but we got a kind of a brown paper look. As you can see, I've now applied the particular paint that I'm going to be using to do the oil wipeout. I said earlier, you choose a pigment that might be favorable for you, that your paintings will turn out to be exciting, only because the color is now giving you the inspiration to turn it out. I say Higgins ink is one thing, Bister is another thing. And so if I'm using Bister, my drawings are better than when I'm using Higgins ink. But I work with ballpoint pen, I work with all kinds of medium. When I don't have it in hand, I memorize things. So what I'm going to be doing here is something that I've sketched and just got an idea, but I'm not going to have it in front of me. I'm going to make it an attempt to get an exciting thing that it will be exciting for me to see what's happening as I progress through this total thing. The best thing you can do now is you can draw with the back of the brush and indicate the figure, you know. I said I was going to do a head, and this head is going to be three-quarter view. There's a neck kind of thing, and he's facing this way, so he's, and I'm going to excite the painting in a way that it'll be for my purpose, you know. So I got nose, I got the brow, the nose, and the base. These are forms that are kind of average and the norm. You can see the drawing coming about. This will be kind of a nose. This will be the mouth. He's going to have a wonderful beard, and it has hair back and through here. All this form that I'm doing now, it's going to have a beautiful shape. Here's the head. It's moving out in this direction. His head is turning towards me, but this figure is facing in this direction. So I have a plane coming out at me, and I have a plane which is going in the direction here, and he's going to have an interesting collar around him, and he's going to have an interesting head. This is now the one way of executing the drawing, okay? Can you see that? There's the eye. Now I can either do it with pigment, and I can dip my brush into the medium just to get the furrow and I'll give it a squeeze, take out most of the paint thinner. Now I'm ready, And if I wanted to paint with this, I can pick up the pigment and start putting in, you know, a little dark so I can draw what I want. His head is coming out. This is going to be an exciting color around him. He is going to be here. Now I'm going to wipe out. I have an idea of where I'm going, and I pick up that wonderful cloth, and I'm going to wipe out. I'm bringing out the lights. This is going to be the value of the shadow, and I bring out the lights by wiping out as such, you see. You'll see this form begin to find its way. This is the nose. It's coming out as such. Okay, I just changed the rag a bit to get a clean portion so I can pull out more of the light, more of the paint to give me the light value that I need. I bring out the cheek by doing this. I bring out the temporal line by doing that. I can bring out the upper lid. I can bring out the lower lid here. I can bring in some creases. I'm going to wipe out even more so in this area. He's going to have a dark, kind of a dark beard. I'm reversing the cloth so I can get some clean areas so I can wipe out and get the lights that I would want. I'm bringing out the form, the lights, to give me the form of the value of the forehead. I'm going to take this a little lighter, made about there. I can come back and work into this, and if I don't like what I have, I can soften it by, with a clean brush or this, I can pull it together and soften it, you know. We don't know, I have no idea. We see what happens. Now I'm going to come down to, there's going to be a nice little collar of light in here, and it's going to be visible. So I want that to be very light, and I'm going to take and give myself that light, and it's going to be underneath the beard. He's got an ear, and his ear might be popping out here, the lobe. This might be the helix. This will be the helix. This will be the concha. So that becomes the ear. Then this is going to be the wonderful area of the cheek. He's going to have a nostril. I can put that in later. I can bring out this light. That's a highlight kind of thing. You can see the nose coming out, but I'm going to take and bring this light of the eye, the upper lid. I'm going to bring this out even lighter. This is the forehead. So I'm slowly but surely bringing out the light that I need to give me the form. I'm also going to take and bring in, if I bring this out to be a little darker, lighter here, the other areas are going to be appearing darker, you see, so I get like it. This is an inside corner. I may take that to make it a little lighter. Here he has, we're going to have the beard. The beard's going to be here, there, and there lighter, and so I can do this sort of thing. I'm going to have his lower lip in, maybe about here. I'm going to take it and maybe bring it out a little bit on this side. Okay. Now this particular thing is going to have, I'm going to have something like this. This is going to be a quick design on the collar, and it's going to give the illusion of gold or whatever. And it's going to go around. And if I take little, I'm doing little squiggles to give it some design. And I'm not sure of what's going to happen there, but it's taken shape. Here there's going to be a little lighter there, and a little lighter here. And then all this might be a little lighter coming out as such as going to be the part of the uniform. Now, the most important thing is that this is going to be the darkest dark, the hair is going to be dark, and the background's going to be a little lighter. So if I start, I'm going to shape the hair by taking out a little bit of light here, and then I'm going to go around here as such, and this is going to be the hair right there, and this is going to be the shadow, the beard. It's going to extend out about here. I can take a bit of this out, because the darkest dark is going to be the uniform that he's wearing, okay? And I can loosen this or dissolve this and take out some of it, and then I'll take it all the way up. Then I'm going to go to the other side, and I'm going to take that out, and that's going to bring out the shape of the hair. If the hair is right shape, then I can go back and adjust it because it is flexible. This is the most flexible medium that you can work with. There are three mediums that you should study with. One is vine charcoal, the second is oil paint, and the third is basic water-based clay, okay? Clay. The head is coming out. And if I take this out a little bit more, you can see it coming out. This is the color that I've chosen, not saying that it couldn't be another color. Then the edges are very important. And so I make this edge very soft to let it recede, okay? I'll take it out a little more. I can take and maybe pounce it, you know, and I'm just activating that background by doing this, making it a different shape, something that's going on. I don't want it to be that important, you know. And so I'm going to be wiping out the top of this. This should be anchored by some kind of a clip so it wouldn't bounce around as such. Okay. This is going to come out a little bit lighter here. This is going to come out a bit lighter here. And it's going to give the illusion that the hairs are coming. I'm going to take and lighten that a bit more. Also, the hair being a matte surface, it should be a soft surface, so it will recede. Okay, I'm taking out a bit more. I'm going to go with what we call the lightest light would be the head. The darkest dark would be the uniform, you know. And whatever I do here in terms of its direction, you know. And when you're normally doing something of a head like this, you're trying to keep it. I usually use maybe 3 fingers from the top, but you don't want it to be too low, otherwise the figure will look like it's sliding out of the frame, you see. So, okay, I take this, and the hair is going to come out a bit here. It's going to come in here a bit, then it's going to come out. And the direction of the hair will be used by taking a toothpick or the back of the brush, and I can do this. That this becomes the hair of the... And you can do this to give the illusion of hair, and you can bring out more. I'm not saying it has to be as dominant as that. I'm wiping out, and some of those strokes may remain. And if I wanted to get the direction of the hair, I would do this. I may even have a statement of dark. It might be the hair that may come up, but it might do this, you know. Okay? Here is my accent color. I can put that in. This is really dark. This is dark. This will be a little darker yet. Accent, this has no oil in it at all, so it's covering very quickly. And this is accent. It's going to give me the dark that I want. This area of the hair, which is not getting any light. Here I can do the same to darken it even more. So I can use it back and forth, but I'm also getting glare, and it's giving me something that I don't want. Anyway, let me get back to this head now again. So I take and I do this, and I do this to the lower eye. I'm going to take this and bring this out a little bit more. This is the beard. Shadow side is on this side, okay? And I may take a little bit of strokes like that. As the beard disappears under and so forth, you can leave it alone, don't touch it. You can bring out a little bit of this side. That'll bring out the cheek a bit. I'm going to bring out more of the head, forehead. Lighten it more so. May lighten it here. I may give it a little light there. I'm going to soften that a bit. Take this out, maybe just a bit. I'm going to see if I can get the light of the eye in there. That pupil is going to be there, but the light of the eye can be a small dot that if I can execute it, okay, I can also maybe put it on the other side. And I can see some things have to be changed, and I would maybe get this a little darker here. That's going to the corner of the mouth. Then I go down here and pick this up. Then this may have a little look like it's hair from the beard. So I execute that maybe a little more with dark. And then I come here and I execute this. And I'm now going to bring out, I've got to, I said I'd come back and do the nostril a bit. So maybe come back and maybe put in nostril there like that. And then I might put the button in here, that's just an unusual little bit of light, and then we put a little light maybe coming down here, a little light coming here. This gives me direction. I might put a little bit there, a little bit here. This is where I can get some beautiful lights of the design, and it's going to be no differently than that. I'll bring out this part of the ear a little more. And now we have almost a completed piece. I'm going to take a little more of that out there. Take this. Bring out that light a little more there, and I can take and put in a signature, and I may do it here. And I sign it with the family stem And that's it. Finito.